On3 comes out with their top 100 players in college football for the preseason. Vandy has quite the quarterback challenge. Can they handle it? Also, how is Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers? Are they on this list? Where do they sit?
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us part of your day, however you got here. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thank you. Shout out to the everydayers. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. In honor of tonight's topic, I'm wearing my Rivals shirt, my Rivals pullover, in honor of the On3 Rivals merger, because On3 came out with a list that we're going to talk about, we're going to break down today. They came out with their top 100 players in college football for the upcoming 2025 season. We're going to break down the quarterback play, mostly the challenging schedule of quarterbacks that Vandy has to face. In these rankings, Vandy faces off against 3 of the top 15 quarterbacks on the list. I'm sure you could probably guess who those guys are. And these guys are good. They're great, but they're not invincible. So how do we stop them? How does Clark Lee stop them? How does Steve Gregory stop them? Also, how do you have a top 100 that possibly, well, I'm going to go ahead and spill it. How do you have a top 100 that excludes Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers? Stowers, who's a projected first rounder at tight end in the very first post-draft mock draft for next year, has him going 31 to the Eagles. And then we're going to walk it off, see what I did there, by breaking down Austin Nye's welcome start. Gets beat up a little. However, Vandy masters their way back into the game, and Holcomb walks it off. Very impressive win, very impressive resolve. This team has shown a little bit of maturity in this whole thing, and I'm very excited about this baseball team. But anyway, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, this episode is presented by Game Time. Download Game Time, the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time is a phenomenal app, by the way. So, anyway, looking at the quarterbacks, looking at the quarterback challenge, On3 comes out with the list, okay? Now, we're looking through the list, and I'm thinking, from an offensive perspective, I'm an offensive coordinator, former. I'm retired, really. I'm looking at all the defensive players. I'm like, holy cow, it's Alabama, South Carolina, LSU. It's all these SEC guys. And I'm like, whoo, this is a gauntlet. And it just tells me what we already know. The SEC is a phenomenal elite league with elite players. And if you're going to be elite, well, as the great Ric Flair said, if you're going to be the man, you got to beat the man. So, and Vandy's definitely going to have those challenges. And their first Power 5 or Power 4 opponent that they face is no slouch either. Kyron Jones is a pretty talented quarterback. He doesn't have much around him, but he's a talented quarterback. So they've got their work cut out for them with the quarterbacks that they play against. But here's what we got, okay? Now, of that top 100, I told you 3 of them are ranked inside the top 15. Those numbers in the parentheses are their top 100 ranking. If they do not have a number in parentheses, means they are not on the rankings. So you have LeNorris Sellers at 8 from South Carolina. We talked about him on the last episode, why that South Carolina game is important for the season. You're going to get a steady dose of that. That's going to set the tone for the conference schedule. You get out of the gates early against what people are saying are the best quarterback in the league. Then you get Arch Manning, number 10. In the Texas game, you get that, late October, early November-ish. I don't know the exact date. Here's the exact date, actually. I do know because it's right here. You get that November 1st. And that's going to be a challenge. Arch Manning, we'll know a lot about Arch Manning before we get to that game. Garrett Nussmeier, number 14, LSU. You get him a fefew weeks earlier. He is a returning quarterback that had a lot of production last season with a team that was just kind of weird. I'm just, there's no other way to describe it. It was just an odd year for LSU. But they're loaded up. They're super talented. He's got some weapons now, so that'll be a dangerous situation. Then you got Ty Simpson, and I rank the rest of them by order of who I think are the best quarterbacks on Vandy's schedule. Ty Simpson from Bama, Jackson Arnold then at Auburn, Joey Aguilar, Tennessee, Bo Pribula, Mizzou, and of course Zach Calzada or whatever they trot out there for Kentucky. These are the quarterbacks that Vandy faces in the schedule. I know the graphic says I got 5 on it, and it's usually a top 5 graphic, but I made an exception here and went 8. So looking at these quarterbacks, okay, now one of the things you'll notice about LeNorris Sellers and Jackson Arnold, those two guys are very, very similar. Arch Manning, to a certain degree, probably not as much of a runner as those other two guys, but he is very dangerous on his feet. But he is, he is a much more all-around polished quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier is a creator. He can get himself out of trouble. He's not a run-first guy, but he's athletic, and he can make things happen. Great throwing on the run. Ty Simpson is the distributor that Ryan Grubbs needs at the quarterback position for his offense. Just think of what Michael Penix did for Washington, and that same style of quarterback fits perfectly within Ryan Grubbs' system. I talked about Jackson Arnold. He's a running guy. He put up 1 million yards on Alabama running the ball when Oklahoma finally decided to say, hey, this guy can actually run. Joey Aguilar, very underwhelming at UCLA, but had a lot of interceptions. Don't know, honestly, have no clue what he's going to do at Tennessee. I really don't. But he does have starting experience in a major conference, so I think he's better than Bo Pribula, who was backing up Drew Aller. He gets his opportunity at Mizzou now, which that's going to be an interesting team the way they're made up. I just don't know how they respond losing Brady Cook, Luther Burton, losing some of the guys he lost in the draft. I don't really know what they're like, how they're going to bounce back, but we do know that they have a talented quarterback. We just don't know what he's going to be against an SEC schedule. And of course, Zach Calzada. I mean, it didn't work the first 2 times. Hell, why not a third, right? So Kentucky, I don't know. I'm at a loss with Kentucky. I have no idea what to make of them, how to react to what they're going to bring to the. I really don't know. Okay, so look at those. We're looking at this list of quarterbacks. Okay, they're great. The top 3 are great. They're not invincible. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay. With great quarterbacks, you have to treat it very carefully, okay? And the game plan is going to be slightly different against each of these guys, okay? So let's really kind of break it down. How do you stop these guys? What is the key to becoming successful and not letting these guys destroy you, okay? Now, for LeNorris Sellers, I think you watch the games that they lost. I think it's a very simple game plan right now. And early in the season, I think that game plan is going to hold up because it's going to take him a little bit to kind of develop as a passer. He's not going to just come in, boom, right away and develop as a passer and be an elite thrower, right? Be an elite quarterback throwing the ball. They opened the season at Virginia Tech. I think they got a cupcake week 2, and then they host Vandy. So LeNorris Sellers has essentially one game to prove that he can win against and pass from the pocket against a Power 4 team, because I think they play South Carolina State or Furman or somebody like that. So that game won't matter. So he's going to get a real defense against Virginia Tech. How's he going to fare against that defense? How's he going to fare in the pocket? Everyone's going to see that Illinois game. If they don't get the film, they're going to get the TV copy. They're going to see that game, and they're going to say, damn, you stopped LeNorris Sellers on the ground. You got him, right? And so that's going to be the key there. You push the pocket, close him in. Don't let him dance and move around too much. Make him throw from the pocket. Make him beat you. And if he does, tip your cap. If he doesn't, that's the game plan. All right, you get Arch Manning. How do you stop Arch Manning? It's quite simple. You take advantage of the fact that he started one game, played in a handful of others against the best defenses. He gets knocked around. He's a little bit rattled. I can't shake that image of him with his eyes as wide as saucers against Georgia in prime time when they hosted Georgia. I can't get that image out of my head. Him and Quinn Ewers both sitting there looking like they've just been through the freaking gauntlet, man. I just can't get that out of my head. So for Arch Manning, I think you're going to get him late enough to where he's going to, some of these early mistakes, the early teams that get Arch Manning are going to throw a lot of pressure at him. They're going to disguise coverages. They're going to give him different looks. They're going to give him some things to look at because the game still ultimately, as good as Arch Manning is talent-wise, the game still probably moves too fast for him to really make a huge impact early. They're going to have to do other things to get him integrated into the flow of SEC play. They're going to have to help him out with defense, run game, other things until he gets it, right? And theoretically, by the time he gets to Vandy, he will get it. But you still have to throw a lot of pressure at him. You still have to mix things up. You still have to press, make him make fast, quick decisions when he doesn't want to. And maybe he'll cough up one. Maybe he'll throw one away. Maybe you can force a turnover that you wouldn't normally get, right? I think that's the kind of key to him. He's still kind of a rookie. All right, Garrett Nussmeier, that's a tough one. Honestly, he should be above Arch in this list, truthfully. But I think with Nussmeier, you hold on for dear life. You take away some of his options. I just think you just have to get sacks on him. You have to collision him. You have to knock him down. When he throws, he has to throw under duress. He has to throw with defenders in his face, hands up in throwing lanes. Like, I just think you have to get him off his rhythm to have a chance. And you still might not have a chance. He'll escape a sack, get on the edge, and throw one across his body into the middle of the field. And just he's kind of got a little bit of like Pavia-like magic with him, where he can just kind of create some things where you're like, where did he pull that from? And we all know where he pulled that from. And that's the kind of things he does. So honestly, the best way to stop Garrett Nussmeier is don't let him on the field. You control the ball, you control the clock, you put him in situations to where he's predictable, and you just got to take your luck with knocking him down, making him throw under duress. You just got to take those chances, and you got to take big risks with him, and you just got to get in his face, and you got to knock him down. I think early on they had a decent game plan against him, and he just kind of took over against Vandy. But of course, Vandy, I think, also was just gassed. They were just gassed. It's just as simple as that. They were gassed. All right. Then it goes real quick after that. Ty Simpson, don't let him get in a rhythm. He's a rhythm type thrower. He's athletic as well. I don't think they're going to run him a lot, but I do think they're just going to throw quick, short things, RPO things. I think you just got to kind of force him off his spot and force him to kind of create. Don't let him get uncontested throws. Get some pressure in his face. Jackson Arnold, kind of like LeNorris Sellers. You just kind of limit his run ability. You throw some disguised coverages at him. You get pressure on him. Just the normal way you would play against a quarterback. I just think you have to ratchet things up and just force him into those uncomfortable situations. Joey Aguilar, based on his stats with his interceptions at UCLA, I don't know that you really have to. I think you just standard pressure, mix up coverages, press, do the normal things. Bro Pribula, I think he's a better runner than he is a passer. He's going to be kind of dangerous, kind of unique. I really don't know. And Zach Calzada, just play defense. Just play defense, man. Like, just do the normal things. Just do what you do well, and you'll be fine against that. So it's really just all about getting pressure, making these guys, putting them in uncomfortable situations where they have to make a decision before they really want to. So, like I said, these quarterbacks are great. They're not invincible. There is a way to beat these guys. Some game plans you're going to have to be more creative than others, and Clark Lee's as good as that as anybody in the country. So I'm really excited to see how they do against these quarterbacks. I'm really excited to see, this schedule, a difficult schedule. I love that. A lot of people are like, oh, okay, difficult schedule. No, man, it's a privilege, man. pressure's a privilege, man. If people are breaking down your schedule, you're in the right spot, man. And Vandy's in that spot. People are like, oh, Vandy's schedule is this, they're not, they're still not getting the credit from, but like something's different in a good way. And so I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching these quarterbacks, watching them game plan for some of these quarterbacks. So, but this list didn't include, speaking of quarterbacks, it didn't include one Diego Pavia, this list, and it didn't include Eli Stowers either. Why? We're going to answer that next. But first, we talk about game time. Man, these NBA playoffs are outstanding. The atmosphere is ridiculous. And the intensity and the buzzer beaters and the fans, just imagine being in that atmosphere and the every shot, the fans are just losing their mind, right? Well, it's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live, and this year's matchups are already delivering. And if you want in, Game Time makes it easy and fast to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. And you better not blink or you're going to miss an Oklahoma City game. Prices drop in the app. They drop closer to tip-off. And with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, man, Game Time is a total game changer, man. This is, like I said, it's the best ticketing app out there. I don't care what you say. It's the best. And here's why. I was on the app looking at, and even though I don't live in these areas, it's kind of interesting to see. But like Celtics versus Knicks, man, and they were offering zone deals like 60% off and like some of the best sections in the arena, right? I was looking at I call it the Boston Garden, but I don't know what it's called, but the Boston Garden, I'll call it Boston Garden just for namesake. It was insane. So and there's not a bad seat in that house. And I love that I can see my exact view before I buy. So there's no surprises there. And the app makes it ridiculously simple. It's 2 taps and I'm done. Like, who doesn't love simplicity? And with Game Time Guarantee, you're getting the best deal. And if you find a better price in the same row, same section, they'll credit me 110% of the difference. You can't beat that. You really can't. And so, with the schedule release just happening as well, man, like and this set and this schedule here for I'm looking at a bunch of things. I'm looking at Titans tickets. I'm looking at Vandy tickets. I might even drive down to Atlanta to a Falcons game because that's where I'm from, and I'm a Falcons fan ultimately. But anyway, you'll find great seats for as low as $100 with exclusive discounts there. And of course, the Game Time Guarantee, your tickets are 100% authentic and they will arrive on time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Thank you for however you got here, whenever you got here, however long you stay. Doesn't matter. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Come on back. If you're a fan of another team, which today you might be because we're talking quarterbacks, or we were talking quarterbacks, hope you enjoyed it. Your quarterback's not invincible. I don't care who you are. But this is insane, man. Like the level of quarterback, the quarterback challenge that Vandy has is absolutely ridiculous. And there's one quarterback in particular that I didn't notice that was on the list. It was Diego Pavia. And I was disappointed because the impact that he had for Vandy football, like you drop that guy into this lineup and all of a sudden everybody on the team plays above their head, right? You go 7-6, you win a bowl game. I'm not saying it's all because of Diego Pavia, but he has a huge part of it because of what he brings, the intangibles that he brings to the table. And so with that being said, I also think Eli Stowers got snubbed. Eli Stowers is a first-round projected tight end. Like, that's insane. Like, if he goes first round like that, I think Jordan Matthews was the highest drafted Vandy player. Maybe no, it would be Jay Cutler. I don't know, but there's not many of them. And if he goes first round, he would be up in the upper pantheon there an upper crust of drafted Vandy players. And I think in this age of NIL, guys want to see two things. Hey, what can you pay me? And can you help me get to the league? That's important. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever. It just is. And so Eli Stowers not being on this list feels almost wrong to me. Diego Pavia feels wrong not being on this list. Those two guys are going to be impact players for Vandy, and I think you can ask any other defensive coordinator in this league. I think you could pull up this schedule right here. I know I've pulled this thing up a million times, but I think if you pull up this schedule right here and you ask any of these coaches, especially Hugh Freeze, like ask Hugh Freeze if Diego Pavia should be on that list, right? Ask Missouri. They survived the game last year. I'm not so sure that they survive it this year, right? Ask Kentucky. Right? Ask Josh Heupel. He had every bit of it that he wanted. Now, Vandy ran out of gas, and there wasn't much he could do outside of that. But ask Alabama. Hell, that's the one you should ask. Ask Kalen DeBoer. He'll tell you, holy cow, Diego Pavia not being on this list, that's robbery. And so the impact that they have is insane. This is not this is not something that I think. It's just a list at the end of the day. So I'm surprised. I'm not really mad. It's just a list from On3. You'll see it play out on the field. In a way it might be great because he might see that and go, yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong. So it's going to be, I think it might end up being a good thing. So anyway, but that's what I'm thinking. The impact that these guys are going to have on this offense, I think year two together, this connection with those two, I think it's going to help them. They're going to. I think this offense is going to flourish. I think this is something when you look at it at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well this offense really took off. Why did it take off? Because Diego Pavia made it go. Why is Blaze Berlowitz good? Because of Diego Pavia. Why? How did these receivers develop so fast? Well, it's because they had Diego Pavia. It's because they were able to progress the offense beyond the basic concepts. It was because they had some guys that had some talent that they could take advantage of. So Eli Stowers, same way. Eli Stowers is a difference maker at tight end. He is a matchup nightmare. And if you don't believe that, you're not really watching. Go watch that bowl game again. He was a nightmare. He was an absolute nightmare. Nobody, there's not. You have to cover him with a big guy for the physicality, but then you have to cover him with a fast guy for the speed that he possesses. So, excuse me. So what do? Do you bracket a tight? This is crazy. Do you bracket a tight end? And I'm not saying he's Brock Bowers. I'm not saying he's Kyle Pitts. I'm not saying he's, that. I'm not saying that yet. He could be. He's got the skill set. He's got the same impact. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to be like. Numbers wise, no, because those guys put up ridiculous video game numbers. But how defenses have to react to him, how defenses have to treat him. Yes, it's very similar. What he does in the offense, not just block and catch passes, he's the recipient of the shovel pass and the shovel option. Sometimes there's been times where he's the pitch guy in the triple option. There's been times where he runs those fast screens across the formation. There's been times where he runs the jet sweep, the under center jet sweep. That he's versatile, and those other guys were versatile. Defenses had to do that. So anyway, I'm quickly running out of time, and I want to tell you about this. I want to tell you about this game that Austin I gets his welcome in. So and the walk off. We'll talk about it next. Who doesn't love them a good outdoor patio? I know I do. And you know what, man? It's getting hotter. And we're getting closer in Tennessee to that really, really fun time of where it's not raining much. It rains just enough to not be a desert. Right now we're in the monsoon season, so we can't really enjoy the outdoors because it rains and storms all the time in May. But like once you get to like early to mid June, it's really perfect weather, and it's perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're into working in the backyard or you got a big backyard, you got just a small balcony, whatever it is, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they've got it all, and at the prices that fit your budget. Man, honestly, grab a new patio dining set and some string lights from Wayfair, and you can help extend your outdoor space. You can make it a place to be. You throw in a few backyard games. You get one of those rolling coolers to put your drinks in. You throw that around the grill, and man, you got quite the setup. And I love the mix of styles they offer. Wayfair makes it super easy to find pieces that match your vibe without spending a fortune. That's good. Save the money. All right, the delivery is free and hassle-free. Right? It's not only free, it's not a pain in the you-know-what, even for the big stuff, because sometimes that can be a chore. But whether you're into entertaining guests or just relaxing solo, shop Wayfair to help you unwind. So shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. Man, every style. Speaking of every style, I feel like Vandy baseball has every style. I feel like this show has every style. Welcome back. This is, Locked On Vandy. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're wrapping up the show. It got late early. We're going to get you into the weekend, and hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you're preparing for, and hopefully you're safe from all this bad weather. We talked about the top 100. Quarterback challenges that Vandy might have. How do you stop them? How is Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers left off this list? But none of that. I want to talk about this game because this Kentucky game, this game one, was interesting. Why was it interesting? Because you started off thinking, okay, Austin and I got beat up. You're like, oh boy, it's 5-0. Oh my gosh, this is terrible, right? And that's, I know everybody was thinking that. It's like, oh boy, here we go. He's not ready for postseason, and it is what it is. Like they got beat up early, but they start chipping away. Riley Nelson hits a monster shot. They put some more runs across the plate. They get it to 7-5. Okay, then Braden Holcomb walks him off, right? This is the kind of thing you need. This is the kind of thing you need in postseason, right? Because teams are going to be jacked up. Kentucky is jacked. They want to end their season on a high note. They want to go out there. They want to win these games too. And they want to spoil Vandy's fun of hosting a regional and super regional, right? They want to get in a situation where they're like, okay, we kept Vandy out of the top 4. Or we kept Vandy out of the top, whatever it is you need to host all the way through. And so they want to play spoiler. Simply put. They didn't tonight. And Vandy showed that resolve that you need. Like when you're in postseason play, you're going to get teams that are going to punch above their weight at the plate. They hit well. They're on a heater. They, for some reason, they're just seeing the baseball better that night. And your guy just doesn't seem to have it. Well, when your guy doesn't have it, what played Vandy last year is when their guy didn't have it on the mound, Vandy never really had it at the plate ever. So you got in a situation to where it just nobody could pick up anybody. The pitchers couldn't pick up the lack of hitting. The hitting couldn't pick up the lack of pitching. Now, when you get a pitcher that struggles, this year's Vandy team on several occasions has been able to hit their way out of those. And then when Vandy's slumping, the pitching has been elite enough to where it doesn't really matter. Vandy, there's been games where 2 runs is enough to win. There's been games where 10 runs wasn't enough to win, and Vandy hit their way out of it. So it's good complementary baseball. It's good power baseball, and I'm glad that these guys are hitting in clutch situations. I'm glad Braden Holcomb has found his mojo, because he definitely lost it at some point early in the season. But that bomb he hit to walk it off, that was a shot, dude. That was great. And that was great to see. It was a great approach at the plate, great swing. And man, that just built so much momentum, dude. It's ridiculous. And you get in those situations time and time again. You get to them. You're going to be in those situations in the SEC tournament. You're going to be in those situations in regionals, super regionals, and at some point in Omaha, you're going to have to have a game to where you're down. You're down by 3. It's the 7th inning. Your pitching's okay, but it's not great. You're going to have a big bat somewhere. R.J. Austin did it. He's done it before. Riley Nelson has done it several times. Braden Holcomb, Brody Johnston, Rustin Rigdon, Colin Barzey. All of those guys have slugged the ball. Jonathan Vastine, he's going to set the table. I just think this lineup is good, and if they can stay red hot, I think you're going to be good. They were able to overcome a 5-0 deficit. Austin Nye didn't have the start that he wanted to. That's okay. They picked him up, and that's what's important, because it's a team sport. If they pick him up, I think that bodes well. So you get J.D. Thompson tomorrow. You get Cody Bowker on Saturday. You wrap up the season. You get ready to go to Hoover, and so. I'm excited about this. This team is special, man. They might. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm not going to say it. What I will say is that's all we got. I'm going to get you into the weekend. Hopefully, enjoy your weekend. If you go to the games, be safe. Be safe with the weather, the incoming weather. Hopefully everybody gets through unscathed. And we'll see you back here next time on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Like, subscribe. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later. Peace.